What is the try resource?
So it's a feature added in Java 7. So there all the classes which are implementing auto closable. So we don't need to close them on manually. We that Java will take care of it. So the syntax is like try, and then in brackets we can add any number of resources, and it will be always closed in reverse direction.
Okay. If I get some exception in between try catch and have a finally black also there, which will be called the first one, the catch block or finally black?
Catch block. So exception is occur in try block, right?
Yeah.
So it will go to catch block and finally will be executed.
Okay. I got one exception, that is a null pointer exception, but I declare as a null pointer exception. After that, I declare as a catch block. Okay, which one will be called first? I'm expecting a null pointer exception. Okay.
Okay.
But now I declare first null pointer exception. Later I declare as a catch exception.
Mm.
Which one will be called?
So since null pointer exception is not a checked exception, uh,
Hmm.
we don't need to follow. We add a catch block. So catch will not be will be coming second priority.
Oh, is it allowed or not?
It is allowed, but we don't need to.
Could you tell me unchecked exception example?
Unchecked exception,
Yeah.
arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index outer bound.
How can you make a custom exception?
So by extending that IO exception or runtime exception. So if it is runtime, then it is unchecked exception. If it is IO exception, it is checked exception.
Okay. You worked on JUnits also, right?
Which one?
JUnits. JUnits.
No,
Test cases.
test cases I have not worked.
No JUnits, no automation, BDD test cases, any other? No other.
No, test cases are not.
Okay. You worked on Spring Boot, right? Spring Boot framework, right? How
Yeah.
can we handle exception in Spring Boot? How can you handle exception in the Spring Boot? Ashwin, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yeah. I'm thinking.
No, no, are you thinking or what? I mean, I
I
feel you are not reaching my question. How can you handle exception in the Spring Boot application?
uh, I'm not sure.
What is the 400 status code?
400.
Yeah.
404.
What is the @REST controller?
Which one?
@REST controller.
So it's a combination of add controller and response body, which is used for handling REST APIs. So it will return the output in JSON format.
So when I trying to consume our API, so they got some issue. I need to provide 400 status code, right?
Okay.
Then how can I build this business logic in a Spring Boot application? Because we have to follow some procedure to handle the exception, right? Without handling exceptions, the vendor unable to understand the whether response has received or am I sending a proper request or not. They can able to understand, right?
Hmm.
Then how can you handle the exception in the Spring?
So in a response entity class, we can return the status codes.
Response entity class.
When we return the output back to the user, there we can provide, right, like a status code
What
of.
is the difference between iterate controller and iterate rest controller?
So add controller is like plain simple Spring Boot Spring MVC controller. So it does not have any REST features. And REST controller is like we can use them for REST development.
Rest control can't use at Spring Boot, Spring MEC.
No, that is specifically designed for handling that REST APIs. We can use that one, but that whatever that you're returning
What is the
back to
REST
the user,
API?
REST API is like uh, we created one service which has a number of request mappings which can be used by client like web and website can use consume those APIs. Mobile application can use those APIs.
Okay, that is fine. We can consume any API. That how can I make that API in Spring Boot application?
At
For
right, which
example, you are implementing some API. The API is saying like, I'm sending these data from my database to the vendor. Okay, vendor consume our API. It's a RESTful API, right?
Mhm.
How can I make it? The vendor
So
given some procedure to requirement to you, like I'm sending this parameter is input. Based on my input, please send me this data from your database. Okay, this is the
okay,
requirement. For example, they are sending a mobile number or a saving account, the account details, and how many uh, uh, how much amount is there, and what are the details that contains, whether it is saving account, the current account. These are all details I need to provide with the 10 parameters. Okay,
okay.
then how can I make it? This is a requirement. How can I make this RESTful API in a Spring Boot application?
So first we will create a controller with add REST controller annotation. Then we will add request mapping. So it will be the URL. Then we will add different methods like get, post. So if they want to retrieve some data, we can provide get mapping. So it will, when they hit something, it clicks some button, it will come to that method.
Why
They
why I should use, why should I declare only get method? Why don't you use the post method?
so post method is normally used for pushing data in the database. That, but if the user is expecting some result, then we can like suppose one form is there where user is filling the form and that we are saving that data to the database. Then we can use post in this case. But if we
No. In this case, we can use the put method also, right?
it is like when we update. So if that form they are storing, we are storing the data for the first time, then we can use post.
I can, in this case, update purpose, I can use post method also.
Update, for update we can use post, but if it is the
Then
first time, then we can use post only.
now tell me which is the idempotent, the put or
uh,
why?
put put is idempotent because it's not making any changes in the backend. So idempotent is like when we get same result if after hitting multiple times. So like get and put both are idempotent.
Oh, what about patch? Is it idempotent, non-idempotent?
Which
Patch method.
patch method? Patch is also idempotent. Post is non-idempotent, and delete is also non-idempotent.
What are the stereotype annotation we have in a Spring Boot application?
So there is controller, service, repository. These three are there.
Only three.
Uh, Add component.
Why I should declare Spring Boot application annotation?
So this will it will be the starting point of our service Spring Boot application. So it consists of various different annotations like uh, component scan, which will scan all the that packages, then enable auto configuration, and then Spring Boot configuration. So it is the Spring Boot application is combination of all those three annotations. So
Enable
it,
configuration, it is IOC configuration or some other configuration? Which one enabled?
can you repeat?
No, no, you said like it is the auto configuration enabled, right?
Yeah.
It is a Spring IOC enabled.
So yeah, when the server is started, application is started, it will all scan all the dependencies and inject all the dependencies. So for that, auto configuration and component scan is used.
What is the dependency injection?
So dependency injection is a way of adding dependency in the uh, service or controller. So we can use at autowired to do it. So we have field injection and getter injection, constructor injection.
Why should we use the auto wide iterate auto wide for the dependent injection? Do we need
So
that?
Spring Boot will maintain the life cycle of that particular bean. If we do that, we don't have to handle when it will be handled by Spring Boot. It will create uh, when we need. So when we start the server, it will automatically do all the eager loading and it will initialize all those beans. So it is ready for us to use.
Once initialized, where it will be stored in a JVM level or some other any other location is there. For example, my being trying to initializing.
Hmm.
If I can trying to initialize something, I need some space, right? I need allocate some space to that. Where it will happen? It is a JVM level or is there any other location?
It will be in container.
Which container?
Like Tomcat server we have by default, so it will be initialized in that.
It's the embedded system, right? Embedded server.
Mm.
That is different. It is not a container. It's a server.
Yeah, uh, I don't know, Bako.
What is the IOC?
IOC is a feature of Spring inversion of control.
How can you achieve it? It was a control mean. Can you tell me the example? How can you achieve this inverse of control?
So there are two types of IOC, like being factory and application context.
Okay.
So when we ask for being from any of these IC, the Spring will give it to us. So Bean Factory is like basic IOC. It did not
Mm.
support annotation and internationalization.
Now, what is the IOC now? Tell me. Now, what is the IOC? Is it a container or not?
Yeah, it is like
Okay.
factory.
What is the difference between at the rate bean and at the rate component? You got it, but can I repeat once again?
I got it.
At the rate bean, at the rate component. When we are using these annotations in a Spring Boot application,
So add bean is used for uh, when we create any. So in Spring Boot application, when we are using login or we are implementing auth, there we will use add bean. So for security features, we are using add bean. Or when we are adding multiple databases, there we can use add bean.
multiple database when trying to consume it, and you are using at the rate component, you are saying like that, right?
Com while consume, but that configuration class is there, no, where we are defining those beans like enabled transaction manager beans, which from where that which package those beans will be scanned or that entity
Then
and
when should we
repositories.
then when should we use the at the rate transitional?
Add transactional is used at service layer. So like
No, what is the purpose of that at the rate transition?
it provides uh, transaction support like commit or rollback features. We don't need to write those codes. So there are a lot of propagations in that, like required means we need a transaction for executing that particular method. Require new is we always need a new transaction. Then never is like we want to execute that particular method out in we don't want to execute in transactional.